Hi, so welcome to session 7 of discernment. I wanted to just talk to you about what if one of the things that we want to work out is working on new agreements? And sometimes people, I always call it like the relationship bargaining stage. And that might be something that's not quite in alignment with how you're thinking of like the grief stage. But what I think it is a grief stage because sometimes what's happening is the relationship is making us unhappy and we're grieving. So we're in that bargaining stage to see like, hey, can it work? Can we actually create a new agreement and make things work? Like the things that have been bothering us the most, maybe there's a way to work with them, right? Maybe we have to go into accepting each other even more than we have before. Um, Maybe we have to accept the changes that have happened to each of us and in the decades that we've been together. And maybe we need to come into an agreement to uh, create some newness in the relationship. And it might be based on like the stressors. And sometimes the stressors are intimacy, money, and let's say activities or house chores. And so if you could create 3 agreements that might give you a little bit longer time to be together or to go into more harmony together, to experience more harmony again. Or let's say a lot of times people in a discernment process have put off separating for a period of time or making a decision about the relationship because stuff is going on in life. Like things go on in life that make it impossible for us to use that time to leave our relationship. Like kids are graduating, there's a holiday, somebody's sick, there's a job change, there's a move. So all these things are death of a parent. So there's all these things that happen in life that actually keep us in connection or in the same place with our partner. And that's not bad. That's like how we live with people, right? We live in community, we live in life. We make commitments to be together as a group. And I guess I want to have a caveat when I talk about that because sometimes it is the tension that shows up at these very important life stages. And that's the thing that I want you to be aware of. If the tension is just so thick and it's so difficult for everyone around you and for you both to be in the same room together, to have a conversation, you can't sleep in the same bed together, like things have fallen apart and they've been apart for a long time and nobody's calling it, then that's one thing in a discernment process, right? This might be a time for you to be like, okay, we really have to do something different. Like we can't live like this anymore. And that's one thing. And the delay of making that decision has been about the major life events that have been occurring around you. But even in that, I would say create more separation so that you can tolerate and not ruin for yourselves all these life celebrations if they're happening. So create more separation. Like don't hang out together all the time. Don't stay in the same hotel room. Um, really be, don't sit next to each other at the restaurant or whatever it might be. That's okay. It's okay to tell people that, hey, you're just wanting to get a little space so that you both can keep it together and keep it pleasant. And that's important. So the way you show up if you're needing to stay together is important. And sometimes there's these life crises and it's so hard to look back and say, well, we didn't do that very well, right? So I want you to really have a lot of integrity here around what you're going through in your relationship. If it's about trying to give it another shot, then you could create new agreements. Like these are the things that are really bothering me, and this is what I would need to try to start rebuilding this relationship again in these areas. And both of you would contribute to that without fighting. And that's why it's important sometimes to have professionals involved who know a discernment process and a mediation process and can do like higher level agreements with you. If it's also that we're just having an arrangement, that we're not leaving each other in the home, but we're having an arrangement of how we're working together. And the only way we're going to be able to do this arrangement is if we're in agreement about how we're doing it. So it can't be anything goes. There has to be, kind of rules and parameters followed. And so what are the 3 major ones that need to be followed, right? A lot of times if people decide to have an arrangement, they also decide not to date at the home, right? Or not to be in partnership. And sometimes years and years go by and people do decide like, oh, well, we can have more of like commune style living and sort of be in different parts of the house or different units of the house and do just fine. And that's also great if you can do that. But that takes a lot of maturity and evolution to get to that place. That's sometimes years away for people. But one of the things I want to just give you hope about is there's all sorts of arrangements in the world, all sorts of ways that people do separation and distancing in relationships without blowing the whole thing up. And if you're getting to the place of a blow up point, find someone that's going to help you through it. Find someone that can help you sort of tease out what needs to happen next and how quickly. So that's something to consider. New agreements.